And we are underway. So as usual, I'll present for 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll unmute and take the rest of the time for Q&A and discussion. So really, I put together three kind of related things in Eclipse today. And I would say the overall connection or the theme here is internal communication. So a couple of ways we use Eclipse to communicate with each other within the branches and across branches. I will be getting into job queues a little bit. Last fall, I did a more in-depth webinar on job queues. I think I spent about 20 minutes on it. That and other recordings are in our company YouTube channel, under branch team shares, usually called the T drive. If you navigate there to training and resources, then to Eclipse, we've got a folder with about 15 or 20 quick guides on sales and customer functions. We've got about a dozen quick guides on warehouse functions in these folders. And then there's a link to the YouTube channel. I think I'm up to about 15 of these recorded videos. So please check them out as you can. And today, I'm going to talk about job queues. There is a quick guide for that, and there is one for the scheduler. Ryan largely wrote the scheduler. Jim Burke wrote part of it. I just kind of put it together and formatted it and stuff. So thank you, guys. All right, so let's start off with the scheduler. This is a widget you can add if you don't already have it. To add this widget, you're going to right-click on a blank spot on your Solar desktop. Click Add Widgets. Then, down the left is all like the most common widgets. This one, the scheduler, is not under this category of base widgets. So you just have to click this second tab, main menu shortcut. And here you can type schedule or scheduler, either one. Hit enter. And then it's this one. The quick guide, the written guide, has a screenshot of exactly what I'm showing here. But you choose this. And then, as with any widget, you can give it, whatever color you like. You can change the icon, the size. I've already got this one added, so I'm not going to add it again. Once you do have it added, it will look like this. When you first open it up, it's going to default to you, kind of like your own personal calendar, but which I'll get to in a few minutes, how you can use this as like an out of office message for just within Eclipse. But first, I wanted to spend a little more time talking about how we use this to keep track of, plan our truck deliveries. So I'm going to, under user ID, you would put your branch, but I'm going to pick on Waldorf, not really pick on. I think they're doing a good job here. So I'm going to put in Wald. And here you can see it does default to today. Up here, there is a weekly view as well, which is useful, and a monthly view and a yearly view. I'm not sure how often you would use those, but I think primarily the weekly view and the daily view really are the most useful. So you can see in here, they had some morning deliveries, and they went in and put the customers and the sales orders. Okay, so to create these entries, so I'll just add another one for Waldorf. You click in this black diamond up here, and then that lets you type in here. Let's just do Matt Wills test delivery. So again, you would put in the customer and the sales order number, and then just hit enter. and it'll put it up at the top of the day. So, you know, you'll put the deliveries up here in this spot that don't have a specific time. They just have to go out sometime on Friday. And then usually the warehouse supervisor, could be the branch manager, somebody, as they get a better sense of, when we're going to make different shipments, then they can assign specific times to them. Or if your customer says, hey, I really need this right around 2 p.m., then if you want to put a more specific time on it, you just double click into it. It brings up this other window, and well, it's already 2:37. Let's say 3:30 p.m. We can give it, let's put a 3:30 p.m. there. I'm going to give it about a half an hour. So we'll say 3:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. Close out. And now it's put that delivery in the 3:30 to 4 p.m. time slot. Okay. So that's pretty much it. There might be a few more notes on this in the written guide, but the idea is, you're looking ahead usually to the next day, trying to plan out where your truck or trucks are going to go. Why this really beats the whiteboard at the branch is that anybody who can get into Solar Eclipse can come in here and look at this. So if you have TMs who are, doing work from home or from a Starbucks or from a job site, wherever, anybody who can get onto Solar can come in here and see what's going on without having to physically walk in front of that whiteboard that's still at most branches. Okay. So to use this for your own, like out of office, you just put yourself as the user and the user ID. And you can see I've already entered something here. Same idea. You can either, if you enter something up here in the black dot, it just appears like without a specific time. But let's say I'm taking off the afternoon. Then in here, let's make it the whole afternoon. So here, if I put specific times, then that's when this message will appear. Let me show you what I mean by that. So when somebody, if you put that message in there, then when somebody goes to message you, I'm going to message myself just to show you. When someone goes to message you, they'll see whatever message you put there. They'll see it here in this window if they're creating a new message. And then it also appears up here, like in the main message window. Okay, speaking of Eclipse messaging, pretty sure everybody knows the basics of that, but I just wanted to point out a couple of tips and tricks that I think are useful. One, I think by default, your conversations are sorted with the most recent at top, but under the sorting menu, you do have a couple of options. I don't really know why you'd want the oldest on top. That is an option. I like newest on top or sort by sender name. So then, if I want to jump back into a conversation that I already started with somebody, I can quickly find them this way if I'm sorted alphabetically, sorted by sender name. Couple other tips and tricks. If you reference a sales order, purchase order, transfer, inventory adjustment within the message, like this one, I said, okay, cool. On A10048, looks like a location adjustment. So then by typing in that inventory adjustment number, it provides a link. Same thing with a sales order, purchase order, or transfer. Okay, two more tricks. You can create a new message to multiple people if you like. Just by continuing to add their names here. And then when you do that, up at the top, it'll show you whoever you've added into this message. Last tip I have for you is that in the upper left, there is a search window. In this example, I knew I messaged somebody about an inventory adjustment, but I can't remember who. So I just did a search on adjust, or I could have typed adjustment, and then it's going to search through all of my messages and show me the ones that have that in it. Okay, final topic. Job queues. So whereas messaging is quick and very, very quick and simple, job queues, it's a couple more keystrokes, but they have more functionality. It's more like emailing, but again, it's just within Eclipse. We only job queue with each other, not with customers and vendors. So you can really job queue throughout Eclipse, purchase order, sales order, transfer, inventory adjustment, customer maintenance, probably some other places I haven't even thought of. But let's just pretend we're in a sales order, or actually a bid. So if you want to send the job queue, to tell somebody about this sales order or ask them to look at something on this sales order, then usually you're going to be on a specific product that you're asking about, because when we create this job queue, it's going to provide links, and depending which product we're on, that will determine the link that it provides. So just for fun, I'm clicked on the second product here, and then I'm going to hit Shift and F4. I put a note that on some keyboards, you have to hit Shift F4 and a function key, especially on some laptops, but Shift F4. I find it easier if you first hold down the F4 and then hit Shift. Okay, then this little window pops up. There's, looks like 4 or 5 choices. Please always do different user. It just really makes it work the fastest, I'll say. So if you do different user, then it's basically saying, yeah, who do you want to message, or who do you want a job queue about this? I want a job queue Ashley. If I don't know her user ID, that's okay. I can just type part of her first name or her last name. Yep, that's her. Click OK. Another window comes up. From here, in the forward list, I can add more people if I want. Let's put Tim on here. As many people as I need to. And then, like I said, it's going to provide links to the sales order. It'll provide a link, CN is customer number, provide a link to that, and PN is part number or product number. And then I can type anything else I need to. Type my message, then like most places in Eclipse, to close out of a window and complete that action, you just click the X in the upper right. And when I do that, Ashley and Tim are going to get an Eclipse message that will have a link to the job queue. So let me go back to my messages for a moment. I'm going to look at a job queue that I've received. And I got one earlier this week from Pete and Troy. So when you're the recipient of a job queue, you get a message and then a link. So here's one that Pete sent me. I'm clicking on the link. Now we've already gone back and forth on this one, but when I first got this, I went into it, followed the link to this sales order he was asking me about, and then to reply to a job queue, you'd think it would say reply, but instead it says new append. So when you click append, and then again, you can choose the person or persons you want to respond to. And again, this one's, we've already talked, but whatever I would need to say to them, and then X out of that. I'm not going to do it because otherwise Pete will get a job queue. And then, sometimes you'll have back and forth with people on the job queue. My best practice is when the topic is closed, when whatever you were job queuing about has been resolved, my best practice is for the person who started the job queue to go in and close it, which is just clicking this close tracker. That way we know this is all done, and it's not just lingering. I know I'm running a little bit long here. I do just want to show you one more quick thing with job queues. If you get a lot of jobs, so again, when you get a job queue, it will message you in Eclipse and have a link, which is nice. There is another screen just for job queues, and that's this kind of leaning hamburger stack icon up here. So if you get a lot of job queues or just want kind of a different way to work with them, this will bring up all the job queues that you're associated with that are not closed. In the selection type, I usually just do all, and then mine are sorted, with the most recent at the top. So from here, I could double click into any of these, and you've got some options you can play with. The synopsis view really doesn't show you that much, which is why I have it as expanded view. And so again, if I know I get a couple job queues a day and I just haven't had time to look at them for a couple of hours, then I could come into this screen and just, work on all my job queues, one after the other if I wanted to. Okay, I'm going to give you guys the ability to unmute, and we've got about 10 minutes left. Okay. Again, if you'd like to learn more about job queues, really there's not a lot more, but a little bit more, then you can view the video I recorded in the fall, which is under that Balson Group YouTube channel. It's a quiet group. You guys should have the ability to unmute. So, like I said, we're up to about 15 recorded videos in here.
Hey, Matt, I have a quick question.
Shoot.
I missed the first couple minutes. For the scheduler for deliveries, is there a way, or you said everyone should be able to see it? When you make the widget, what do you have to do for everyone to be able to see it?
No, nothing. Yeah, there's really not many options at all with this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just you create the widget, and then by default, it should just when you go in, it'll default to you, like your personal calendar. Mm-hmm. But then in user ID, you would just type the branch.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just typing like walled. I'll tell you what, some branches have more than one in here, but as long as everybody in the branch is using the same one, um, then it works out.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
I have a question.
Shoot.
Where do you see all those training videos?
Yeah. So if you go into your on hopefully at this point, every company computer, if you go into the file explorer and then to this branch team shares. And by the way, literally just today, like an hour ago, I'm working with Brian Johnson to try to get a link that'll go on everyone's desktop, not your Solar desktop, but like your computer's desktop, to just take you here so it's easier. But until we get that, you would go under File Explorer, and then you should have this branch team shares with all these different shared folders. And then there's a training and resources folder. Then you're almost there. And then there's an Eclipse one. And then finally, there's a link to the YouTube channel.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I know. I don't like that it's so many clicks. That's why I'm trying to see if Brian can just get like a shortcut pushed out.
Yeah, I'm going to check my desktop right now to make sure I have access to it because I don't on the laptop.
Oh, really? Okay. Brian can help. No.
Hey, Matt, Justin from Burlington here. I was curious if there was a way when you went into the scheduler to have it default to something other than yourself.
Man, I tried and tried. It's kind of a basic program.
Mhm.
I know that kind of bugs me too, because I'd like to have one that's just for me, and then like one that would be for the branch, you know. But
Alrighty.
yeah, it's funny. Scheduler's been in Eclipse a long time, but they never really made it more sophisticated, I'll say. Yeah, I'm seeing some branches using this in some slightly different ways. So I think as long as everybody who works in a branch understands, you know, how it's being used in that branch, I think it's good. But I forgot one more thing. So if you when you create the entries in here, if you reference the sales order, then you might need to add this to the toolbar, but you can do this view cross reference, which is a long way of saying like follow the link, even though it doesn't look like there's a link on that sales order. If I click this view cross reference, it'll jump into the sales order. So it's kind of like a hidden link. It's just the way Eclipse does it. So if you don't have that on the toolbar in here, must be, it's under view cross reference. And then, I should have written it down. One of the brand, Portland or Bangor, one of them, they were also in here. They were putting a note. It wasn't pallets. They had like a scheme like for like a kind of like a load factor, basically saying trying to figure out how much they could get on the truck. So like a rooftop unit, I think was 2 points. A regular pallet was 1 point. Whatever it was, they knew they could only get up to like 15 points on a truck. So I mean, it seems to be working for them. I'll just say, whatever makes sense at your branch. But if you find that sometimes you're filling up your truck too much, or like you're overcommitting, trying to get too many orders out at once, then maybe consider adding notes about the size of the order.